Chattisfying.
What is it about you? You know, what do you do on the Twitch.tvs?
Stream.
You stream? Oh, okay.
Wow, really?
I stream.
What sort of stuff do you enjoy streaming?
I stream every Friday at the moment for 6 hours. My start time does vary depending on my hours at work, which is wonderful. I'd love to have obviously a little bit more,
lenient,
a little bit more like prior warning. But there we go. It is what it is. I'd like to be able to like just keep it the same time every single time, but it's just not possible with shifts and so on and so forth. But I'm lucky that I can do every Friday because I couldn't even do that before. I used to do like different days and all that, but now I'm on Monday to Friday, which is great. So I do every Friday for 6 hours, yeah, we just sort of see where it goes. Really, at the moment we're playing Skyrim modded.
Didn't want to share. That's right.
But what?
No, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I'm hitting notes.
And
don't you worry.
Yeah, I like to involve the community. I like to sort of make it a little bit sort of a group experience. So I'll have like channel redeems where people can like basically sort of change the course of the game to a certain degree. So for example, at the moment on Skyrim, we've got one that makes me change the difficulty to legendary for 5 minutes, which causes many deaths.
Nah, you're crazy. Sarge hasn't gotten you murdered.
Yeah, it's not like he's killed me like 30 times or something, or anything like that. Yeah, and
Good job, Sarge.
There's one where you can, stop me from teleporting for 5 minutes, that kind of thing. But because we enjoyed Doki Doki Literature Club so much, when I streamed that, and it was so cursed, it's kind of become a bit of a mantra for the channel. It's all about the curse now, and the girls from Doki Doki Literature Club regularly invade the stream.
My favorite's Monica.
I actually think
I like them all. Funny.
Well.
Because you wanted to give more personality to Karagor in that, right?
Yeah.
You should have one like buried deep within. Because I know you said you want to do like layers and shit. Yeah. Deep within the layers, it can actually summon one of them.
Yeah, that was my eventual goal. I'm not gonna lie.
Wicked.
Yeah, that's sort of that's the end goal for Karagor. It'll take a while to get there, but yeah, I just haven't quite figured out how I'm going to make that work, but I'll figure it out. But either way, they kind of invade the stream occasionally, and like their actual little like avatar comes up, and I put a voice on it. It's ridiculous.
They cause chaos, do they?
Yeah, they cause chaos. If we're doing like a tier list, because I like to do a tier list occasionally. Monica will sometimes just mess it up and be like, "Oh, what are you talking about?" and change everything up. And
I don't know if you know this, but the best tier list is the one where Monica's on top. She's I stand Monica.
Doggo.
It's my dog. He keeps he's in the room with me. Oh. He came up earlier. He was talking about it. But yes, but you spoke about how you could. It's very because obviously with Breath of the Wild, you're put through Breath of the Wild, and you're able to do the same sort of thing with your Skyrim.
It goes a little bit beyond the channel redeems as well, because I like have votes. So sometimes if it's like a small thing, I'll just put a vote up live. But if it's like quite a big thing that changes the entire sort of course of the game,
one of those key Discord. Sort of choices, it's like left or right, or like the bad good sort of like
yeah,
exactly. So you're playing Mass Effect 3's ending, A, B, or C.
Yeah,
that's like what I mean?
Obviously you have to know prior to it happening, because I put them up on Discord beforehand. So for example, when we were doing Breath of the Wild, I put it up to a Discord vote as to which Divine Beast we did next.
Area.
And at the moment, some of like the big Skyrim decisions are going up on there. Like for example, whether we join the Imperials or the Stormcloaks went up there. That was a close vote as well. It came down to the wire, because it was 10-9 to the Stormcloaks.
Oh,
I know. It was a bit of an upset, to be honest, because I was so sure that the Imperials would win. But yeah, the Stormcloaks won by a whisker. It was amazing.
The thing about Skyrim is Alvor died in my playthrough, and then I stopped playing the game.
Which one's Alvor? I get a little bit.
So Alvor is the merch. He's like the blacksmith from the very first time you go to.
Right.
And for some reason, I like dadified him. I was like, he's my dad. I love him to pieces. I'll come back and visit him. And then one day, a lovely dragon came by, and he blew him into pieces. So I then carried Alvor's body all the way to like a witch's hut somewhere in the woods, and I laid him to rest on our little bed. I was like, no one shall disturb you.
That's adorable.
No one shall disturb you now.
Was this live on stream?
Yeah, this is like years ago though.
That's amazing.
I never finished Skyrim after that because I was like, well, there's no point. That's it.
Aww.
That was it. The game died with him.
It did. I did take his clothes though. I put them in display in my my Rift at home.
Not sure how to feel about that.
Yeah, well, I want to memorize him. You know, not just the fact that he's somewhere in the middle of the woods where a bear's probably going to eat him, but the fact that his clothes are at least safe with me. I can wear his clothes, pretend to be him sometimes.
No.
This went south quite quickly, but this is the kind of curse that I like.
Exactly.
Cursed? What's cursed?
What's cursed? Have you ever seen that Ganon emote he's got? Christ!
Oh my god!
Oh, have you seen my Ganon emotes?
It's terrifying.
Your one's cool though. My one's just horrible. That one's my one. Blazing made that from your one. With permission.
Yeah, let's just say I combined my emotes with my haha Ganon, and some of them are very weird. Especially the laughing one.
Oh, I always thought that Ganon was your Ganon.
It is.
That is mine.
The one that Moon just did is Moon's Ganon.
Yeah, but I thought
my emote.
I thought the one that Moon did was your Ganon.
It's not mine.
No.
It was created partially because of me though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
he used haha ball a lot, and I was like, oh, new emotes. Hey, Mellar, you inspired one of these, and I decided to make a Ganon.
See, he uses that Ganon all the time whenever I see him. And I'm like, I always just thought it was one of his emotes.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no,
But
it's mine.
It's not at all.
Yeah.
Very rarely use my own emotes in someone's chat because it's kind of bad manners.
It does feel a little bit like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, unless it's literally like the perfect emote for the moment. I use Moon's emotes in chat all the time.
No, I definitely get that.
I mean, it's based off
there's
of,
definitely
like,
a certain etiquette for those emotes, though, isn't there?
Yeah.
Whereas, in case, like when you come into it, it's like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
He also inspired the one, the haha Ganon and Those two worked really well together. Wasn't that the one you loved, the tiny hands or whatever?
It's so funny with the tiny hands.
It's so funny. And I also I transferred the stash over to Ganondorf as well. And so just imagine Ganondorf with a red mustache. With and it works so good. It's actually really good.
And it's so cursed. It's exactly the kind of thing that I go for. I love curse. It's so good. I used to do this thing. I don't do it so much anymore, but I used to do this thing. I've still got it here. It's probably gone off. But this is pure malic acid. If I got
this is the stuff that makes sweets
sour.
Yeah.
If there was, if I had a certain number of subs in a stream in a week, it was actually, then I'd do one just once,
which is a stream essentially.
Do a shot.
It was yeah.
A shot, no, a spoonful.
No, there's a line.
Some of the faces I made.
Oh,
I think I've got an emote for one
there's
of the
a line
faces
of malic acid.
There you go. That's an emote for one of the faces that I made.
Oh, God.
So it's all about the curse with Mellar21. It's something that I didn't really used to, but then we played Doki Doki, and ever since then I've been all about the curse. It's just so much fun.
It's surprising, like, where you end up like finding yourself, like, you know, something that inspires you to go in a completely different direction than you originally thought you were going to go in. You know?
Yeah,
that's exactly it.
Yeah, and now I will actively like go for things that are slightly more cursed. So Skyrim, for example, I mean, I wanted to play it anyway, but there's so much curse in that game because it's so buggy. But also,
you mean Ohio dragons?
Exactly. But one of the things that I would kind of like to do at some point in the future is I'd like to play Pokemon Infinite Fusion that Moon's been playing, because some of those fusions are so freaking cursed that they're just so funny. I really want to play that game, and just I will go out of my way to go for all the most
now's the best time because they just released an update. The game is so smooth now. It's amazing.
It's definitely on my list, but I got to play Arceus
and it's
first.
Gen 1, so like you'll kind of know what you're doing. Like there's some new story elements and shit, but you'll know what you're doing.
Yeah
I can't wait for any sort of Pokemon that's mixed with muck.
Yeah,
those can be funny. Some Pokemon make amazing combos. Some of them, Delta was showing off the Mr. Mime fusions. Sweet Lord Jesus, that is the most terrifying Pokemon I've ever seen.
That's what I'm going to be going for. I won't be going for a good party. I will be going for a cursed party.
The cursed, the most cursed party. Yeah.
If you scroll through Mellar, you'll see some of them. Some of them are terrifying. Not even just cursed, terrifying.
Good.
Like nightmare fuel.
I love muck backwards.
Yeah, I bet you do. Yeah,
I do. Let me tell you that. So obviously, playing through Skyrim at the moment, is it just the one game you go for at the moment, or what sort of thing? Do you normally try and like mix it up, sort of go for like a couple of games and sort of like go between them, sort of thing?
That is a very good question.
Because obviously you got the new stream room, all that sort of stuff. You're trying to see if you can try and get more days in, sort of thing.
Exactly. So as it stands at the moment, because I only stream once a week, it was only ever going to work for me to only stream one game. From start to finish, basically. I don't like stopping the game halfway through because as a viewer, I find it frustrating.
Especially if you're going for every part and then suddenly you're not, it's like, oh, come in, and it's like, you're not playing the game. What, did I miss something? It's like, no, we're just playing something else. It's like,
I mean, obviously, if the game fully just isn't working, I will stop. And I did that with Borderlands 2 because it just wasn't working for me. And I just got to the point where I was like, forget this.
Done it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I have multiple games going, but they're always like on set days, so people like know when to expect more.
Yeah.
Some say Mellar thinks that Borderlands 2 is the Waterworld of games.
I wonder who says that.
I mean, I know you liked it when you played it multiplayer, and you just said that
it's a great multiplayer game, and I like playing a single player as well. But Mellar just absolutely despises it.
It's just not it's not balanced for single player. To be honest with you, I found it quite frustrating, and it just didn't really work properly. And it kind of wastes your time a lot. There's a lot of walk. Like you complete a quest and you got to walk back. I was just like, I'm done with this, to be honest. But generally, I will start a game and I will finish it. But as you alluded to, Deck, I am planning on streaming a little bit more. It's something I originally planned to do as soon as I got into the new stream room. It didn't quite work out the way that I was expecting to. I've been a lot more busy in my real life than I thought I was going to be. Got quite an important project going. Once that's finished, I should have some more time, especially as T is going to be going to bed earlier. So I'm hoping for a little bit more time, and that's when a second game is going to come in, and I'm going to start hopefully Pokemon Arceus.
Ooh, Legend Arceus, yeah.
Yeah.
That's an exciting one.
Yeah, I'm going to play that, and then after that, maybe something like Infinite Fusion or something. But I want to. I like seeing what the community wants me to do as well. But like,
well, you always put out a vote, so it's case like it's always nice sort of thing. I think that when you do have like a main sort of like, if you got a couple of days, like so. Obviously, some people do it differently, some people do it differently, all these sort of things. I personally found it, if I had like, a block of maybe 2 or 3 days, and then I'm not going to stream for a couple of days, and I've got one more day that I can stream, I'd like maybe a main game for a couple of those, and then the other one that I'm not, that it's not going to be on its own, or a later time, or a different time. It'll just be a side game sort of thing. And it keeps things a little bit better for people that are like, normally I come in, and you say you're starting at 6, because obviously, you're normally starting later in the day. It's like, say you're starting like, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night, and it's like, okay, I come in for Skyrim, and then you're doing like Tuesday at like from 2 p.m. to something like that, and it's like, this isn't Skyrim. This is like some, it's like, I'd be expecting you to be at 6 o'clock for Skyrim sort of thing, but it's not Skyrim. It's going to be a different game. So that's how I sort of try and keep things a bit different,
I think it's also kind of important to try and keep things somewhat simple as well, and just to be consistent, because that's kind of what I've really been going for with the fact that I do 6 hours every Friday. It's
been going really well, by the way, may I say.
Yeah.
I enjoy hanging out and sort of like, I'm always, because obviously you start later on in the day, so it's like, or later on at night, so it's like,
he goes usually later for me.
Yeah, it's always later at night. It's just case like,
usually miss the end.
I'll do what I'm doing, and then it's case like I'm sort of relaxing and sort of winding down for the evening. It's like, Mellar's on. Oh, this is some good prime content right there for it. That's exactly it.
I think a lot of times I'm usually gaming and watching him. That's why like sometimes I don't talk a lot, is because I'm like doing my own thing on the second.
It's one of those things where it's like lurkers are fantastic when it comes to like, it's like you should never like, I hate the idea of like calling people out if they're busy up doing something else.
Oh, you should never call out lurkers.
No,
ever.
Exactly. Exactly it.
Yeah, I remember when you first got Mix It Up and it just started calling.
Oh my god!
When I
first installed Mix It Up, I went live and it just called out all the lurkers in like a big list.
And it was like boom, 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 because he didn't realize it was on.
Stop! It was so embarrassing for me, and I literally
didn't know it was a thing that was enabled or something.
I think I literally just turned the bot off and went back to the old bot at that point. I was like, I was like, I'm so sorry, everyone. I'm not having this. Yeah, I know. I figured it out because it was.
It was an easy, like it's a simple, just click it off and it won't do it. Yeah. But yeah, it's one thing you got to make sure to click off. If they might have changed it now how it works, but for some reason that setting was on by default.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's not now.
Why would you?
I don't know.
I
don't know.
I don't know.
But
essentially, it was anyone enters chat, their name pops up.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like those people that have the things that like go on the bottom of the screen.
I was just about to say that stream avatars. Yeah, I've seen a few streamers with that where it puts your name up on screen as soon as you join, and like it's fine to have the Pokemon appear as soon as you join, but your name. And I've actually like I've fully dipped on streamers before who have had that. Like there was one particular guy. I won't obviously say his name, but he had it up on there, and I was like, "You do know this calls out your lurkers?" And he was like, "Yep," and I was like, "Okay, bye."
It's not,
I
it's
have it set up
sort of
to when they first chat, and then it times out after like
15 minutes is
10, 15 minutes of them not chatting. It'll just go and go back to the
things where you end up sort of like, you don't want, like, if someone's busy, like obviously, for instance, I know that you sort of hop into a lot of people's streams when you're working. You don't want to be like, you hop into someone's stream to sort of hang out and whatever, and maybe you're busy with doing work or whatever, and someone's just like, oh hi, trying to have a conversation with you the entire time, and it's like, I'm not really here I'm sort of just chilling sort of thing. So you don't really want to sort of keep you're sort of, you don't want to waste their time by being like oh I'm here but I'm not here sort of thing. But at the same thing, you also don't want to get distracted from the thing you're doing as well. Yeah exactly it.
Yeah, exactly.
So obviously streaming one game at a time at the moment, and you're getting through quite a fair few things. The question I've got for you is that obviously you've been at this for a while. You've played a lot of games on stream. What is? I mean, you're a big fan of Zelda. I know that for a fact, because every time we have a guest on, you're like, "Do you like Ocarina of Time? Is that? Do you like Majora's Mask?" I mean, I don't know if we can be friends. You don't like Zelda, It's kind of like. But what is your favorite game that you streamed? Do you think?
That is such a wonderful question. I think
it's almost like you came up with it.
It's for me. It's normally the ones where the community have really gotten involved. So I don't have one, but I mean, I can't speak for the current Skyrim because it's ongoing. But definitely the first time I played Skyrim, that went really well. We had a lot of fun. But also Doki Doki Literature Club was crazy. That was so much fun. So much fun.
It's the one that literally just changed the whole outlook for you. You sort of went off and did a whole different thing after Doki Doki,
Exactly, yeah. But also Breath of the Wild was just so much fun to stream. And also, Ben's just reminded me, Final Fantasy X when I did the 100% playthrough.
You're a madman.
Because that was something that I'd never done before as well. So it was like I played it many times before, but I'd never 100%ed it before. So to actually experience that.
You did most of the grinding off though, right?
I did pretty much all the Blitzball. I played like 2 games of Blitzball actually on stream, and the rest of it I did off stream because I find Blitzball incredibly boring. But it happened.
Fuck you, Waka! I don't want to play Blitzball.
Such a melt, isn't he?
I hated that game.
I hate him.
I hated that game.
I was okay with it. I had to take the control into my own hands rather than the predetermined, like the players move on their own. Because you can fully control them, and I felt that made that game a lot more tolerable.
Mellar is currently controlling them yourself. The Invisible Man.
I'm a little bit ill. I'm doing my best.
My dinner's ready.
You ever see? You ever look at talking about you just coughing there? It's a complete tangent. You ever look at people coughing on Google Images?
No.
Just look. It's pretty much just people doing that the entire time, and it just looks like they're blowing the Invisible Man. Or women eating salads. Women eating salad. I don't know why they have to be so happy eating salad, but they're always like.
Oh, all stock images are like.
Why are you like that?
Awkward or like. I don't know. Stock images are weird, man.
I can definitely get behind though what you said about it's not just one game, but it's the game that people get behind the most. Or like there's lots of people behind it because it's one of those things where I think if you're having fun. And then there's a big surge of people having fun as well with maybe it's your first time playing or like you're doing something different with the game or you're giving people control of like you said with the game, like start from teleporting, put the foot up, all that sort of stuff. It can make things way more fun because you're having a special experience not only with yourself but you're also sharing it with people who are hanging out.
Yeah,
and it's one of those things. It's really fun. It's a great experience to go through something and it's unique to you with all these people just hanging out and sort of going along the journey with you.
Yeah,
like you said, Final Fantasy X. Sorry, I had the same thing with Final Fantasy 7. I played it for the first time, and there was the thing that I had. It was the same sort of thing. I know exactly what you mean. Same with like Witcher. Like I find that longer games that you enjoy and sort of people and not only people that are fanatics about the game want to come along and enjoy it with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that first playing a game on stream can be it's a very interesting kind of thing to do. It's a bit of a gamble because it can be
you don't know if you'll enjoy
absolutely
it.
amazing. And it's very much down to the community as well. Like, it can be absolutely amazing. Like, I'm so happy that I first played Skyrim on stream. Like, it just worked really well. Like, the whole thing, like, the community worked out really well, like in that they would only backseat if I asked them to, and all this kind of thing. And it just, like, I was so, at the end of it, I was so happy and I felt so blessed that I decided to first play that on stream. But when I eventually got Breath of the Wild, especially because Zelda is so dear to my heart, I was like, there is no way in hell I'm possibly going to be able to to stream this first playthrough, because if someone spoils it for me, I'm not going to be able to forgive them.
You're not going to recover. Exactly.
Yeah.
I've played. What have I played now on stream for the first time? I did Skyward Sword, did Twilight Princess. I'm doing Wind Waker.
Yeah.
And I've gone through all those. Those have all been basically first. Well, Twilight Princess was half and half, but like they've all been first playthroughs.
I think when you're first playing a game, it does help if a mod knows the game really well as well. That can be really, really useful.
Yeah, you knowing and power, like several people have come in and just been like helping me out once I ask, which is good too, that not many people have come in and just started saying shit and be like, do this, do this, do this.
It's not just that as well, because obviously if you know the game really well, you also know when someone's spoiling it and when they're not.
When they're not, yeah.
So it's a lot easier to mod. I mean, I remember obviously when I used to mod for Vert, it was fine for, when he was doing, because he did Wind Waker. That's where this whole water world meme comes from, and that was so easy to mod. And then he did flipping Undertale, which was a really difficult game to mod. Not only do I not know it, but the community in that can be quite fanatical.
The Undertale community in general
and it was fine.
Fanatical, and mental.
Yeah, that was.
They are some really crazy people in that one.
I think it's because I did it before I got affiliated. Like there's like 1 or 2 clips from
Undertale
that.
hasn't always been crazy on Twitch though, because we were talking to Lord Thulu a couple of I think it was like episode 3.
We're going on to 3 years.
Yeah, he said that
for my affiliate.
It was about then that he said that he did it. And he said that it went fine, and it's only a bit more recently that it's gone a bit crazy.
Well, it's actually funny you mentioned
interesting part of me is like
when I played Undertale.
Oh, really?
That's why I met him. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
I met Mellar from OOT. He was playing OOT random. Rated him. Been friends ever since.
Was it Rando, or was it when I was playing it vanilla?
I think it was a rando.
I think
I was missionary.
Yeah.
Ages and ages ago.
A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Good times.
Jeez, and then we started doing multiplayer worlds.
A galaxy far, far away.
Mod each other.
Are we talking about my Christmas jumper?
Sure.
Show it off.
Sorry, I haven't watched that either.
I was gonna wear one that lit up, but I didn't.
Oh, that would have been fantastic.
The lights didn't work anymore.
I was gonna turn my lights on.
I was gonna turn my lights.
I was gonna turn my lights off and turn my stream lights on, my lights on. But since I switched phones, the app isn't working. I need to figure out why it's not connecting. I can't even control my lights back there anymore.
I would tell you the games I've played for the first time, but I can't. Because I only play games for the first time.
All right, okay.
That's the issue.
Yeah, you've got so many in it.
That's the problem, isn't it?
A man with that many games could not possibly play a game again.
We talked about this before when we were in the pre-show about Persona 5. I were enjoying
Persona
this, and then I played 3 playthroughs of Persona 5 before I played Royal. I was like, oh yes, I'm playing Royal for the first time. But I've not played the new stuff yet. I never got that far into it before I actually give up on it. But no, tell me. So obviously we went through some of your favorite games to play. Obviously the ones that the ones that you get community involved and sort of able to both enjoy, both you and the party of, people who are watching. But it's just something that you didn't, something that you didn't enjoy playing. What was your least, not maybe your least favorite game to stream, but just least favorite game that you've even just tried out? I assume possibly Borderlands 2, honestly.
Yeah, I've got 2 answers to this.
But besides that,
is it Borderlands and Borderlands 2?
I haven't done Borderlands 1, but one of them is definitely Borderlands 2. It's the only game that I fully it wasn't quite a rage quit, because it wasn't all this kind of thing. But I literally I was about an hour and a half into a 6-hour stream, and I literally went. I couldn't get past this creature. It wasn't even really a boss, and I was just like, nope. I'm done with this.
I'm done.
Yeah, I closed the game. I was like, I'm not playing this anymore. What should we do for the rest of the stream? And we ended up playing Jackbox, didn't we? It was like you and Bray and Arctic and that kind of thing. It's the only time I've ever streamed Jackbox. But yeah, I was just literally like, I got to a point with it. I was like, I'm not playing this game anymore. Otherwise, I'll probably will end up throwing my controller somewhere. I just hated it. The other answer I think I would give to that though is I did once stream Papers, Please for like 2 or 3 streams.
Okay. That's actually really interesting because I really enjoy Papers, Please.
I assume that's before I knew you.
I think it was just before, but it just didn't go well. It's like I don't think I'm rubbish at the game for a start because it's quite a hard game.
It's a very dialogue oriented game. There's not really much you can talk about either.
But it also it requires a lot of focus, a lot more than I was thinking it did. So it also like and I don't think it really resonated with my community either. So like the Papers, Please streams,
I just didn't like it.
No, they didn't go very well, and I ended up not liking the game. So yeah, Papers, Please I think would probably be my main answer. Aside from the others.
I think Papers, Please is one of those games, like you said, it requires a lot of focus. But at the same time, it's also like, it's one of those games that you also, like, sometimes when you play games, you can talk about, like, oh, I'm doing this, and I'm going over there, I'm going to talk to this person, we're doing this because we want to see, oh, what do you think about this person, what's your opinion on like, this situation that's going on? Papers, Please is you're just sitting here like this.
Yeah, I think another reason why it kind of got to me a little bit is a little bit more personal, is because at the time, I suppose still to a certain degree now, but my job was literally like, checking documents like that. And because I was failing at that, I was sitting there thinking maybe I'm not as good at my job as I think I am.
Yeah, it's I didn't actually that's what you're doing at the time, but it's basically I guess that would give you a little bit of like anxiety. But it's like, if I can't do this in a game, can I not do this in real life?
How can I do that in real life?
What you have to keep in mind, and what I eventually sort of brought myself to sort of getting my cognition, as it were, was that the game is specifically designed to trip you up, which is why it got me.
Well, not everything. It's a case like not every time, like in an actual job, it'll do it. That's the thing. So the game is designed to trip you up in those sort of ways.
Exactly. Whereas life isn't exactly designed to trip you up. It might feel that way sometimes, but it's not.
It definitely feels that way. I would say that.
So yeah.
But no, I definitely understand that. Yeah. I definitely understand that sort of thing. Because I imagine that if it doesn't, well, the thing is, if a game doesn't vibe well with the person playing it, then you can't really. Like, I've definitely, and it's not the thing you should really do. Whereas that you should, sometimes people you sort of like, oh, I'll just sort of, I'm getting close to the end, or like you put enough time into it, and then suddenly you realize you don't like it, and you're like, I've put enough time into this, I can probably try and just push to the end. Sometimes that can be some of the hardest things you can do, and it's like, at the end of the day, if you're not enjoying it, people know you're not enjoying it, so you're just better off to just to sort of stop what you're doing. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That was kind of the thing that informed the quitting on Borderlands 2.
you know the part that sort of really gave it, it really sort of shined to me. The fact that you didn't like Borderlands 3 was the fact that when you started playing Jackbox. That's the part where I realized he's not probably going to play Borderlands 2 again.
Yeah, no, never again.
Oh man, but I suppose, like, obviously talking about your favorite game, talking about your least favorite game to stream, all that sort of stuff, it then goes on to the sort of question of from a community point of view, there's bound to be games that you enjoy playing that your community don't particularly enjoy, or there's games that your community were like, oh, you should play this, it's really, really good, I love this sort of thing, you should go give it a go, and then you just don't like it, and it's a very hard choice to, like, I want to leave this sort of thing, on what to do there. Yeah. So is there other games like that sort of you enjoy and then your community didn't like, or just sort of the other way around, where it's like the community sort of like recommend this thing to you, you're like, why do people like this?
Why do people like this so much?
Yeah.
It's just people overhype.
In terms of games I enjoyed, but the sort of community didn't really resonate with. I mean, it doesn't really apply anymore because I've completely fallen out with it. But World of Warcraft.
But Dragonflight came out.
Yeah, well, I haven't played it. I've kind of I've checked out, but
you've given up on it yourself.
I gave up on World of Warcraft a while ago. But when I first started streaming, it was actually I was basically just a World of Warcraft streamer. I used to stream.
Never would have found you.
Yeah. So it was a case of like, I remember you telling the story of like it wasn't really a case of you were trying to stream. It was a case of you're just streaming the raids you were doing, right?
Yes.
When I started, I was only a World of Warcraft streamer. I streamed basically for my guild. I used to stream raids. and that's kind of where I got started. And then I started streaming some other stuff, and I do like other stuff. And then my sort of like chill game that I'd do was World of Warcraft. And I quickly realized that streaming World of Warcraft just didn't get me anywhere, basically, to the point where I just, I not only stopped streaming it, but I was like, I will not stream this anymore. It was just, it just, you know, it didn't really get me any sort of interaction, which is obviously what I was looking for.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for the longest time, I enjoyed playing World of Warcraft, but I was like, I won't stream it because the community didn't really resonate with it.
The
Even
World of
though that's how I
Warcraft
started.
community also is like massive on Twitch as well. So there's so many people who are doing it. It's a case like when a new person comes into it, it's also a little bit difficult to sort of rise up the ranks a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get lost in the viewers.
Sauce. Lost in the sauce.
But then when it comes to games that, I mean, I do sometimes get asked to play Undertale, which I don't think is a game that I would necessarily consider. I don't think. Okay. But other than that, I mean, I'm pretty happy to go with most other things. I mean, the only reason why I wouldn't stream Undertale is because of aforementioned modding issues and all that kind of thing. I'm quite alright with playing the game. I maybe play it off stream sometime. I think I own it. I'm not sure.
I feel like everyone owns Undertale somewhere at one point. Yeah. Do you think? If you
it is a really good game.
Do you think if you played Undertale through once, you might then consider to do it? You know, later on, a couple of times. You know, maybe a couple of years later.
Yeah, like
decide to do it.
There are 3 endings to it, so there is that as well.
There's 3 endings to the game? I thought there was.
Yes, there are 3.
I thought there was more than that.
You've got your basic ending, your good ending or true ending, and your bad end.
I thought there was more than that.
Yeah, this is kind of like this is kind of like the genocide and stuff, right? Roots.
Yeah,
sort of
so essentially it's kill everything, don't kill anything, and a mix. So you killed some enemies because you couldn't figure out how to.
You can get a passive run, but then you can get a true passive as well. So there's 4, isn't there? 4 ends.
Is that how it works?
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Maybe there's true passive.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely 3. There's definitely 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. From that.
Other than that, I mean, I thought that I wasn't ever going to play Five Nights at Freddy's on stream for pretty much the same reason.
You did it once for Halloween or something, right?
I did it, yeah. I did it once. And it was one of these things where I was like, I'll do it once, I'm not doing it again.
Did you enjoy it, Thor? Yeah. Did you not enjoy it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. But
it was interesting. You had a lot of people coming in and shit, right?
Yeah,
that were coming in essentially just for the game.
I enjoyed it because it was new to me. I think if I was asked to play it again, I'd probably hate it.
You wouldn't be interested, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I kind of caved on that one.
I haven't played Undertale since like before I was affiliated. That's insane.
I think it's one of those things that the Five Nights community is sort of the same way as Undertale,
yes.
And the same with like Doki Doki as well, because the Doki Doki like that community is also the same sort of thing.
Yeah, I think generally the Doki Doki community is a little bit more mature, but not.
Yeah. But not
I guess
too
because
far away from it. Yeah.
I guess because of like it is a more mature like subject matter in it at times.
I mean, it looks like a cute dating sim.
Yeah, and then it's not.
It's not, no. If you want a cute dating sim, though, KFC. I love Colonel Sanders. Fantastic game.
Yeah, there is a KFC dating sim.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I feel like the only other dating sim I had ever seen, well, it was like partially one, is Hatful Boyfriend.
I shouldn't tell. Oh no! So I played it on stream, right? I played Hatful Boyfriend.
Oh, you did.
Yeah,
but the thing is, I then went back. So it's a pigeon dating sim.
Hatful Boyfriend. They're pigeons, but it actually goes kind of dark when
there's
you learn
some dark.
why.
There's certain like bits and pieces that it gets darker.
You're playing a human girl, and there's a reason why you're the only human girl, essentially.
Exactly. At the same time,
and it goes dark.
I also sat down mid-year this year and I platinumed that game.
Oh my god!
There's 28 endings in that game.
Yeah, one for each.
And I did all of them.
Oh no, 20! Holy shit! I
think it's about 28. I think there's
I watched somebody voice act it, and I'm talking like someone who does like just natural voice acting. And oh my god, I don't think I would ever be able to play the game because I'd be like, where are the voice acted voices?
Yeah,
there's so well.
There's
and
so
like,
many.
Oh my
there's
god.
so many of those games that are like, what am I doing? You know, like even like you always remember bringing Paulie on the last podcast we did. His favorite game, Dead by Daylight, because we know he loves Dead by Daylight. It got a dating sim.
No,
you did.
Hooked on a feeling.
It's Hooked on You. I'm pretty sure. Hooked on You.
Not a feeling. That's a song.
And you basically hooked on a feeling.
You date the killers and shit.
That's the song, yeah. But yeah, you did all the
killers and shit. They're all like redesigned and shit.
Oh,
Sexy Trapper, Sexy Trapper. Let me tell you. But yeah, so
I know Arctic's been playing it.
It's one of those things. It's like, I mean, other than not really, obviously the modding situation, not really understanding if it would be a game for you with Undertale. Is there like a certain genre that you aren't like? Is there obviously some people aren't great or don't enjoy certain games, so they're not good at them or they don't find them enjoyable? Is there a certain genre you won't touch though?
Yeah, please don't hate me. I don't like horror games at all.
Oh, horror games in general. I know Dark Souls is another one you don't touch down on. The super difficult ones, essentially.
Yeah, two different, completely different reasons. One, the Souls games, I just don't. They're not my games. I don't really like them. And I'm not that good at video games. I know I just end up getting really annoyed with it. But yeah, I don't like horror games. I find them quite dull, if I'm honest. I don't really enjoy being scared. But yeah, so I don't like horror games. I did do one stream because
that's something I would play either.
My Friday stream once happened to be exactly on Halloween, so I did Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion because it's quite cute.
Oh yeah, it's quite cute, but
it's actually genuinely quite scary as well.
Scary but cute. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh no. But no, I think I knew about the horror games. I knew that you didn't like horror games, so I think there was a point where you popped in and I was playing Amnesia and you were like, yeah, I can't stay, I don't like horror games. And I'm like, you don't like horror games sort of thing. It's like, but the thing is, like, so a lot of people are, so do you not like horror games, but you like horror movies, or you just don't like horror movies either?
I'm not really that keen on horror movies generally either, especially like the slashers. I will completely steer away from. They bore me. But like there are a few horror movies that I can get behind. There's the Witch. The V-Witch I thought was quite good. There was It Follows I thought was pretty decent.
That's I know what you're on about. It's like it's kids that are like banging and then they pass on like they're like a monster. That's not chlamydia, but they do pass on a monster.
Yeah, basically. I
don't watch much horror either.
Krampus I thought was quite good, although that's a kind of
it's
comedy.
Christmas. It's Christmas.
Clearly, you need to check out that Jack Frost.
Watch Krampus with your kids,
too, right?
That is, if you take anything from the podcast today, watch Krampus with your kids.
Yeah,
that's
I quite like when it comes to cinema. I like Korean horror, so things like Old Boy, Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, Thirst, that kind of thing. But that's
the original Ring was, I believe, Japanese, wasn't it? The original Ring. I think they do better. I think when it becomes then it's obviously going off a more traditional sort of thing, then going to the West. I think the West then sort of ruins a bit more.
I watched about half an hour of The Grudge and I found it quite funny. It was supposed to be scary, but is
this the original or is this the Sarah Michelle Gellar one?
No, it was the Japanese one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I watched it, obviously that I've got a big soft spot for Asian ladies, a married one, and and then it got to the part where the actual monster is shown on the screen, and it was literally just a girl in white makeup, and I was like, she's kind of cute.
Yeah,
it's like destroys it completely. Just destroys the film completely.
No, exactly. Yeah, the only
thing that creeps me out about her is the way she walks.
I think it's the little. Moves. I think in the Grudge in the Western thing, it's a little boy, but he's like bright blue. Like he's like the makeup they use isn't white. It's like sort of powder, sort of blue. So he just looks like he's suffocating. I'm like, are you alright, fella? And he's sort of like looking at you like this. And I'm like, is there a reason you're alright? But I remember watching that as a kid and being like terrified because there was one scene in this thing where like someone's like there's something going on in the bed and the sort of person looks under their covers and they get dragged underneath the bed. And for years later I go and not really know if there's anything under there, But no, I think it's definitely. I think not everyone is going to enjoy every single genre. Like I think having, you can't expect it to enjoy everything.
Like genres of music too, right?
Exactly. If you don't like listen to flat tire music, it makes sense. That's what my grandparents call it. But no, it's definitely you can't be expected to enjoy things, especially when you're trying to. Even if you're getting, so would you not play? I assume going back onto the question of like a game that your community loved and you didn't like. I assume you wouldn't play if someone was like, "Oh, could you play a horror game?" You wouldn't do it.
Probably not. No. In all likelihood. I mean, the Spooky Jump Scare Mansion stream did go quite well. But yeah, it was like, it's not something that I would go out of my way to do, to be honest. So no, I'd normally. I mean, Outlast is one of the few games I will pretty much not watch. Not because it's scary. I just hate it.
You just like it.
I just hate it. It just pisses me off, to be honest.
Let me let you into a little secret. You should watch Outlast 2 because it is genuinely garbage. It's not scary because they try and do the same thing they did in the first game, which was like they try to replicate all like the scares and all that sort of stuff, and it doesn't work because it worked in the asylum because it's like enclosed space, you're trapped. Outlast 2, you're sort of walking around outside, and it's like, I can just run the other way.
You know? I understand that. Was Outlast 2 briefly banned on Twitch before it was unbanned?
I believe it was briefly banned because there's like I think there's hints. Well, I know I've seen bits and pieces of this game. I know at the end you watch someone. Spoilers for Outlast 2, by the way. I know, Bill, you're planning to play it in a marathon. I know, of course. But I'm going to spoil it for you here and tell you that there is someone giving birth at the end of it, so you do see a little bit of the.
Yeah.
You experience once, you don't really want to experience again.
Yeah.
The grossness, yeah. And like in the first Outlast, you saw a little bit of pee-pee, and that was it. But that didn't get banned.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'd rather see the little bit of pee-pee than the grossness. That's it. That's exactly it.
You heard it here first.
What can I say?
You'd rather see
What can I say? I'm a man of taste. I'm a charm.
There's a quote that out of context could be quite interesting. I would rather see a pee-pee than a
gross stuff.
A gross
thing or something.
That's exactly it, yeah. What can you do? Oh, goodness. So tell me, obviously, you've been shooting. How long have you been shooting for? How long is it been like? Obviously, since you started obviously, would you count? I mean, some people do count when they first start, and it's like obviously with the WoW stuff. Would you count that, or would you count from when you originally first started? I
wouldn't necessarily count the WoW stuff. I never did before, because I didn't really take streaming that seriously when I very first started. It was always just to put on a show for the guild. I was really lucky in that I actually hit what you would need to become an affiliate almost exactly the same time as the affiliate program actually became a thing. It was literally within like a month.
Okay.
And I got my my internet updated because I used to basically I used to stream on non-fiber, which for anyone who's ever seen a stream on non-fiber, it's not good. So when I updated my my internet, that's when I started playing other things, and that's when I kind of decided to take it seriously. And again, like I say, that's kind of coincided when I became affiliate. So and there was about a year before I became an affiliate that I used to stream World of Warcraft only. So I don't really count that kind of year.
Your first year.
Yeah, so that was actually back in 2017 that I started World of Warcraft. So I became a proper streamer in 2018.
Oh, big streamer.
Wow, not really, but a
big famous man.
streamer.
That's him. A proper streamer. No, exactly. And I get what you mean.
Yeah.
But I think it's a case of I actually have something very more of a question that might help me as well when I ask this question, but I think I may already know the answer to it, which is obviously how do you know what sort of games you want to play on stream? Like, how do you know? Like, how do you choose? Obviously, you normally like was obviously you put it up to a vote, but you obviously have to have options for the vote.
Yeah. So when I very first started, I think. It wasn't. I didn't think about it, but I think in sort of subconsciously, I had this list of games I wanted to stream, and they were pretty much all games I played before. I did deviate from that list a little bit occasionally. For example, I played Darksiders 1 and 2 on stream, and they definitely weren't on that list. They just sort of happened. But generally, I think I had this list, and I got to this point. It was actually around the same time that I played Papers, Please that that list expired. And I actually had a mini freak out at that time because I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, you get through the list, you're like, I've got nothing else planned.
Yeah, and I think that's about the time that I realised there'd been a list as well. And I was like, I don't know what I should stream. And that's actually when I started my first Skyrim playthrough, and that's when I started the Final Fantasy X 100%
100%, yeah.
But because they just happened to be games that I'd sort of acquired that I hadn't necessarily had at the beginning, not on PC anyway, because obviously I played Final Fantasy X loads of times before on PS2, but I managed to acquire it on PC. So I was like, well, I can stream this now. But then after that, I started. Here you go, beautiful. I love that game so much. I started doing these votes, and the way that I would pick the games, I don't do this anymore, by the way, but the way I would pick the games is I'd sort of you look at ratios and stuff, and it was essentially in an effort to somewhat grow.
Yeah.
You know.
So there's certain aspects for that. So it's kind of like I think was it Solinome or something like that. I think
that's one of the websites that I used.
Solinome sort of thing. It was like you could like see what was best, like what you played it was best, and then what is doing well, and that sort of like I don't know the exact sort of website. But there's like certain things that like tell you what for your number of average viewers and like the amount, the size of your following thing, you can see like the sort of guest games for you to sort of grow.
Playing that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that kind of informed my decision. So I'd get a sort of a list of games, and I'd put a vote up on Discord as to what people wanted me to play next, and it worked really well for a while. But I found finding games on the list, on these websites increasingly stressful. Where like actually getting the websites, because the best way one of the websites works is you need to do like a search, but it needs to be at the time of time of day that you would stream.
You stream, yeah, exactly.
But then obviously I'd have to remember
there's no use in you doing it at like
exactly
10 o'clock at night, and I start at 6. It's like, oh well,
exactly,
that sort of thing. Exactly,
yeah. So you then have to remember to run the search while you were live. And then quite often I was finding that, because what I would try to do is I'll try and run the search and then leave it open and I'll check it afterwards. But the website would crash and then I wouldn't have that data anymore.
Oh.
And, but also, obviously, you don't just search for, things that will give you a good ratio. It has to be, 1, things that will give you somewhat of a good ratio. 2, a game that you will actually think you will enjoy. And 3, it has to be a game that you actually freaking own. And
that's true as well.
I found
a lot go into it.
Yeah, exactly. And it just got to the point where I was just hating. Like I would actually got to the point where I was dreading doing the search, and it took up so much time as well. So much. I imagine
it took up so much time, but also so much like, willpower and mentally like taking things up. It's like trying to figure things out. It's like I imagine that would be a big thing where it's like I'm trying to find things that'll be good, but at the same time I also. Do I own this thing? Am I able to do this at the right time? Will people actually show up for this? Sometimes even when you do such those things, it's like a case of that is what people show up for. For certain people there. But if I start showing up in this sort of thing, will people come and watch me do it as well? That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, my sort of little freak out with that kind of coincided with me actually finding a few games that I actually really wanted to stream. So I just did those couple of games, and now I'm kind of sort of halfway in between. But the votes that have been going up more recently I've just picked basically games that I want to play, and then people.
Which I think is the best way of doing it as well, though, because it shouldn't really matter. If you are playing, it shouldn't really matter. It's a game that I want to play, but it's not really got that many people come watch. It's like, which doesn't really matter. Like, I want to enjoy this game. I want to experience it.
Yeah.
And if people come along, you never know who you're going to meet when you're playing it as well. It's like, oh, I actually love this game. I was just passing by. Like,
yeah, people
There's quite a few people that have found me for certain games as well.
My kind of thought behind it was,
and then they stay for you, right?
Exactly. My kind of thought behind it at first was like, I don't know what game I want to play, so I was sort of like fate decide to a certain degree. But also, if I'm gonna, if I'm gonna stream, I may as well at least try and grow. Even though like I keep saying, I've never really streamed for growth, but it did kind of work out all right. But it just caused me too much stress, so I just I gave it up. And now at the moment, I'm just sort of taking it as it comes, really.
No, I absolutely understand that, especially when it's a case of like, I think when you take it as it comes and you sort of do just go with the flow, things do come like to you a little bit easier. It's a case of like, it's a conversation in a way, because like, it's when you sort of put it off, it's like, oh, I should really go and visit people and sort of say hi, and like so when you go and visit family, and you're like, oh, but I don't really know what to say to like granny, and I never really know what to say, like go over there and speak to her and sort of like ask her how things are. And then when you get there and you have a chat, and then suddenly things just start riffing off. By the time you leave, you're like, this is actually really good. I don't know why I don't do it more. And then the next time you go, you're like, oh, you have the same problem. So I think it's one of those things where going back from that analogy to go into like games, it's a case of like you don't really know what to play, and then suddenly you're in the mood for this. Like, oh, I'll play this, and then it goes really well because you're enjoying it yourself. You're not doing it for any other purpose. It's just you're enjoying the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you're like, well, that was great because I was just enjoying it for the fact that it is what it is, and I want to play it, you know. And then you get to the same thing of like, well, I don't want to play. Maybe I should do this and should do that, and then you end up playing it. You're like, you know what? I want to play this because I want to play it. You get into that little mood again, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a cycle of it, and sort of like I think there's going back to. I know we spoke about it like right at the start about thanking your community and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like there's so much does go into like behind the scenes of like thinking about what to do and what to play and like even keeping streams looking and working efficiently and doing well and being fun, that there's a lot more stress into picking a game on what to play than you think there is, and there shouldn't be. It should just be a case of you play it because you want to play it, and instead of being like yeah, exactly. So sorry,
I'll cut
you off. I was going to ask you about obviously Zelda. Zelda being, I imagine you played Zelda as a kid. Yeah,
absolutely. Ocarina of Time, I absolutely rinsed when I was a kid. Played it when I was about 11, and I immediately fell in love with it.
So it would have been. That was obviously like. I imagine on the list that eventually expired, it was like one of those ones that you sort of like wanted to do because it was like.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things I quite early on kind of identified that was I wanted to play all of the 3D Zelda games just vanilla. And that was something that I absolutely did. I've played most of them again since on stream.
But you do a lot of randomizers and stuff like that as well, don't you? Yeah,
but I've played them all vanilla since as well on stream. Pretty much. Yeah, I've done Skyward Sword twice. I did Twilight Princess twice. I only did Majora's Mask once. But yeah.
Majora's Mask, huh?
I'm not really a big fan of Majora's Mask. It's all right, but I never had
any. Would you say it to its face?
Only if it's not going to kill me.
I've never played Majora's Mask.
No promises.
Yeah, I've done Wind Waker twice. I've done Ocarina 3 times, I think.
Jeez,
4 if you include that one time that I did Master Quest on Gamer Talks channel.
What is Master Quest?
Master Quest.
Harder dungeons.
Yeah, harder dungeons, but it's not like. It's basically obtuse. They just make it kind of. Yeah. But I still as a kid, I really enjoyed it. I thought this is the greatest thing ever.
It changes the order of like where you go in the dungeon.
But only in the dungeon. The game outside the dungeon is exactly identical.
Everything outside is identical. Yeah.
So it's just that the layout and stuff it's a little bit different, and like items are changed.
The layout is the same. It's a matter of like the puzzles of the dungeon. So like. You're not gonna. I guess in Water Temple you don't go. Do you still go directly down and lower the water, or do you go somewhere else first?
I don't remember, but basically a lot of temples you kind of end up doing backwards. Some of the later temples you actually don't have to do all of them, unless you want the gold skulls. So in actual fact, like the Water Temple, you can basically leave after you've completed like half of it, if you want. But yeah, I don't think I've ever got all 100 gold skulls on a Master Quest playthrough because it's just a pain.
I know that this might be a bit of a throwback, but I remember when we had Kuri on, and there was talking about how there were certain things that were just incredibly difficult. There was a certain version of like I don't know if it was a randomizer or a certain like thing that you played on Zelda, and it's like you know what I'm on about, right? You know what I'm talking about? It's like there's this thing where you need these certain boots to like walk past these skulls or like walk over the like a certain amount of skulls or whatever it is, or there's a room with skulls and chests in it. That I'm thinking about, that I'm trying to remember what this is all about. Is that a certain mod as well?
I'm not really sure. I mean, I know that when you play a randomizer, there are certain checks that a lot of randomizer players will turn off because they're just more trouble than they're worth. Like there's one where you have to collect 10 posts on the field, and it just takes ages to get one check. It's just annoying. There's one place in one of the dungeons that's affectionately known as the toilet.
The toilet,
because you basically you jump into this hole and the water spins around, so it's like
it's not
being
even
flushed
just
down a
that.
Toilet. But it's just you have to collect silver rupees in this room, but you have to collect silver rupees in the previous room to get to it.
Yeah, to get access to it for one item.
Yeah, and you need so many items in order to be able to get to it. It's just a pain. So a lot of people turn that off.
Okay.
Because then you can skip 2 silver rupee rooms, and you don't need your iron boots, or like
So I think that's probably what you mean.
Yeah, there was a thing that I definitely
Might have
brought
been
up, and I was like
setting.
wondering what it was. Yeah, I think it was like, it's a certain like version or something that was like a certain thing to go and do that I was just like not understanding, because it was something about like a chest and like skulls, and then you fall through the skulls or whatever. But it's fine. So Zelda being like you played as a kid, all that sort of stuff. Is there other games you played as a kid that you'd like to go? Like, you maybe not had the chance to go and play them again after all these years, or you've not streamed them like you wanted to, or what's that sort of thing for you?
No, not really. I mean, like I said, pretty much all of the games I loved as a kid. I think those were the games that were all on my like list to play, to stream, and
Okay.
I really got to the end of that. So obviously all the Zelda games, but we obviously they were all mostly Nintendo games, if I'm honest. Although I did have a PS2. So the PS2 had Final Fantasy X, but also we had things like Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, Star Fox Adventures was one that I really wanted to do. Which is
have you not done it?
Yeah, I done it. Yeah,
Okay.
I did that. Yeah, there was a few others that I can't think of off the top of my head, but they're mostly they're mostly just Nintendo kind of IPs, really.
So you're more of a Nintendo person than like the Sega sort of kid growing up then?
Nintendo's pretty amazing.
When I was younger, I was Sega over Nintendo up until the N64/Dreamcast, and that's when I flipped.
I don't think you actually.
There's always
You really
Nintendo
had a
Game
choice
Boy.
after the Dreamcast. To
Well,
Nintendo.
exactly. But that's when, because I genuinely think that the 2D Sonics are better or more fun for me at least than the 2D Mario games. But as soon as they flipped to 3D, it completely that was the other way around. Because I know that there's a lot of love for the 3D, some of the 3D Sonic games, but I just couldn't get into them.
There
Whereas
are
the 3D
some
Mario
that are a
games-
little bit like infamous of being like, don't touch that 3D Sonic game. Like, I think Generations is one of those games. It's like, don't touch that.
Yeah.
Or the one that I personally like the look of it and the aesthetic, but people say it's bad, is Sonic Unleashed, where he's a hedgehog. He's a werewolf, sorry.
Yeah.
Turns into the big. I'm like, why is it bad?
Yeah, exactly what Small Prince said. Like back in the 2D era, Sonic was amazing. I really loved the Sonic games, but yeah, in the 3D era, Mario has it every single time.
See, I went the opposite way because I probably played more I don't like 2D Sonic because I find it difficult.
Right.
I find that he goes. Well, I mean, his whole thing is he goes fast, but sometimes he goes too fast, and I'm like, hold on, I like see whereabouts we are actually going in the stage. I can't actually see where I'm going. Like, you're just walking. Sonic, stop running into that wall. What are you doing? Come on, the spike's there. Come on. But like with like 2D Mario, it was a case of I remember playing. I still have it. I still have my cartridge of Super Mario Land.
Amazing.
On the
Yeah.
original Game Boy, and it's the case of like I remember sitting there in the playground at school trying to do this thing, over and over and over again. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But back then, there was no like save, or maybe there was a save, but I was very, very stupid as a kid. Like up until maybe the PS2, I thought that all games were like arcade games, where if you died, you just restarted from the beginning again.
I actually just brought back a memory because on most N64 games, you could just save onto the cartridge. But there was one game, Gauntlet Legends, which is a fantastic game. But for some reason,
I played that game.
Yeah, I love that game. But you needed a memory pack in the controller in order to save it. It wouldn't save onto the cartridge.
I tried emulating. You can't emulate that game.
Can you not? So I honestly, played the start of that game.
It glitches the shit out. I want to play it again so badly.
It's so, but you can get Gauntlet Dark Legacy,
I mean, my
which is
brother
almost
used to
exactly the
play
same on
it.
the PS2. So
Okay, so it was saved on the disc on
PS2
PS2.
release.
It wouldn't save on the disc. It was saved on the memory card on PS2 anyway.
yeah,
but do you think
it was actually it was a launch
I didn't know
title
there was
on
a
the
PS2 release.
Yeah, it's a PS2
Oh.
release called Gauntlet Dark Legacy. It was a launch title of the PS2, and I got that too.
Gauntlet Dark Legacy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe that's why, because it didn't have the same title.
But
That might be why I didn't
Okay.
know about it.
I played the first couple of levels of that game so many times until eventually I got a memory pack for like Christmas or something.
Oh my god! Yeah, me and my brother used to play through that. Oh my god!
So that's on the
Memories,
N64, right?
That's
Like
an
you said.
N64 game.
N64, yeah.
The later generation, like as time went on, N64, did all cartridges require you to have a memory pack, or was just most of them were saved to the
Most of them
Not
saved
all
the
of
cartridge.
them.
Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause, yeah, it was the thing that like plugged into the back of the controller, right?
Yeah.
The memory cards, yeah.
Yeah.
There was a big slot for it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. You put your
Yeah.
memory card
Which
or your
was
mobile
also
pack
like
in.
the game cartridge thing for Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2.
Oh
I
yeah,
have
you could put the actual
Yeah, you
Game
slap
Boy.
in the thing, you slap your game card in, and you could like
It's like-
play your game. You could play it on Pokemon Stadium.
That's,
Well,
that's,
it's like
that's how I
some-
got all 150 Pokemon in my first Blue playthrough. Yeah.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. I used
Alright.
Pokemon Stadium.
I remember you could do the same. There was like attachment for the GameCube There's an attachment for the GameCube.
The Game Boy Advance player.
You could play like Emerald.
Slaps on the bottom of the system, and you
it's like this big box that you stuck on the bottom of your. So that the GameCube was this big.
It was a little bit taller, like
exactly,
But it was cool.
It's this big like box, right? Yeah. And it was generally just plastic, and it had the little slot in the front of it, and that was all. It was this big like block.
I think it was so that
like to go into, it's like why
there was probably like chips in it and stuff to be able to read the cartridge, obviously. So
of course,
it knew what to do with it.
But it's also a case like it's just really crazy to me the fact that they had this big square block with this little dinky cartridge, and then that way you can play it.
Oh, amazing.
No, that's crazy to me.
Happy days. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, but no, I think I'm pretty happy with. I don't think there's anything else I would like to ask you. I think I'm pretty sure I've got a pretty in-depth conversation there, like where the sort of things you come from, what sort of things you enjoy.
Come on.
Actually, I've got saying that there's one question to sort of round off this sort of segment. I want to ask you is, whereabouts do you like? What's future prospects? Where do you want to? Where are you aiming for? What sort of things you want to do coming up?
That's a good question. I mean, my kind of goal at the moment is to start doing the extra streams. I keep promising. Like I say, I kind of thought that they'd happen a little bit sooner than now, but life gets in the way. But I know that I will have time for them eventually. It's just kind of getting that time there. Once I start, I'm sure I'll be able to sort of get there. But I've got some big plans, to be honest. Like, I want to stream more often, but also I'm hoping to have a little bit more time just in general in the evenings to just sort of sit at the computer. So I'm kind of hoping to bring back occasional movie nights. It won't be regular, but it'll be something that will happen occasionally.
And that's in the Discord.
Yeah, we've done it before.
And where can we find the Discord?
Say again?
Where can we find the Discord?
Well, here is the link.
The link's just there.
There it is.
Well, if you're not already part of the Discord, you can join it there.
There you go.
Or if you're on YouTube, then it's probably in the description.
But in terms of what happens on like the main streams after Skyrim, I actually have no idea. I haven't really thought that far ahead. But
we'll get there.
The Friday streams, like more recently, I've kind of seen as like project games, like big long games that could last for quite some length of time. So in actual fact,
few months.
Technically, modded Skyrim could go on indefinitely.
No, exactly. Well, the game is massive as it is, and there's so many mods that add story to it as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it will go indefinitely, but it's a possibility. It's there for me to potentially, do. But,
do you think that once you are able to stream more often and have extra streams, you'll still keep Friday as like the project streaming? You'll still do the big games on Friday. You still keep that sort of slot.
Yeah, absolutely. I might have to slightly decrease the length of them, but also like these extra streams, because like as I mentioned, I do slightly different hours at work. When I'm on early shifts, I'm not going to be able to do these extra streams anyway, because I'm basically probably anyway. Again, with T going to bed earlier, I'm not sure, but. We'll see, but so it might be like a sometimes this, sometimes that kind of thing, which is something again I don't really want to have to do because I'd rather keep it consistent.
You want to be consistent and sort of have a schedule, that sort of thing. No, exactly.
But at the end of the day, life is life, and
life gets in the way. It always tends to do that. In this case, like I think right now, being able to just even have the Friday stream with everything going on that you've got going on, that's a miracle in itself. Like this is great. At least you've got one solid, for sure I'll be here on Friday sort of thing,
Yeah, absolutely. That's very important to me.
No, exactly. Yeah. But no, thank you. I enjoyed finally getting kind of role reverse a little bit there, and sort of
it was interesting.
being able to do that.
Uno reverse.
Exactly. Uno. I haven't got any Uno cards. I don't actually. You ever played Uno? Great game.
Literally once.
I play Skippo.
Skippo?
Yeah, it's old classic. My grandma taught me it. It's like counting game kind of thing.
Is that some Canadian thing that we're too British to understand?
I don't think so.
Talking about Canadian things, there's one Christmas movie that I meant to mention earlier, I didn't, which was, for some reason, in the middle of Christmas 2006 or something like that, whatever young age I was at the time, Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer played on British television, and it's actually a Canadian. It's a Canadian Christmas movie.
I don't think I've heard of it.
You've never heard of it?
I don't think so.
It's really strange Christmas film.
Sounds strange.
And it's like got these sexy ladies. Like it's an animated show. It's an animated TV show, but they're just sitting like dancing, doing like some kind of dance. I'm like, It's Christmas.
What is happening?
You're in Hawaiian clothes. What's going on? I have no idea what's going on here.
Gosh. Yeah, I never heard of it.
No, I don't know that one.
Run Over by a Reindeer is a wonderful song.
So they made a movie after the song. That's what I'm hearing. Or they made a song after the movie.
Well, what came first? Did the color get named first, or did the fruit of orange get named first?
Egg. It's the egg.
It's the egg. Yeah, you're right.
It's the egg.
What?
Yeah.
Consider yourself satisfied.